Beautiful. Now, to wrap up the conversation, we had our Sports Mvt community sent through a few questions that we would love to have you answer. And these are questions from our very own community as well. We'll start off with a question from Rachel. And she highlights the fact that you were a phenomenal player, but she simply asks, do you ever miss playing?
I do miss playing, but I just had my second Achilles surgery a few months ago. So playing is not realistic for me at this stage.
At all? Maybe even PlayStation?
Maybe that, and it's difficult because I was trying to get back into being able to play socially. So I started to work out and I started to play. We started a women's pickup game. So we were like getting together every week to play pickup, and I ruptured my other Achilles.
Yeah.
So that recovery process has been long. My physio says I can do it if I want to, but I'm a little skeptical right now about ever going back to playing.
All right, maybe someday in the future once you've healed, eh?
No, I'm not sure about that.
I'm trying to nudge you in the right direction here. You're like, no, there's no way. All right, that's perfectly fine. Another question comes through from Thabo. And Thabo simply asks, when you look at the world of basketball, where do you see it moving towards in the next 5 years in the country?
I hope forward. I mean, for us as 𝗙𝗹𝗶, the really important thing is to move the women's game forward. I think one of the things we speak about is having an Olympic vision for us. And I think that it's working towards that for us. It's working towards having a world-class women's program, not just on a national scale, but just women's programs throughout the country that are functioning, running, and us being able to contribute to those and help to grow those. I think that women's basketball does have a future in this country. And the women who've gathered and who've, not just the board at 𝗙𝗹𝗶, but our members, we have over, I think, 500 members from around the world, not just in South Africa, but even South African women based abroad. So there is room for it.
All right, beautiful. Caitlin asks quite an important question, and you've just touched on it as well, that we want to have a program that can compete. We want to have a program that reflects the talent that we have in the country as well. But of course, when we talk basketball, America is like the be-all and end-all at the moment. They've got the NBA, but also the Ladies League is doing amazing things. What do we need to do to get somewhat closer to achieving that level?
Yeah, so what they've done, which has been really glaring over the last couple of years, is to create the W into their own brand. I think for a long time, the WNBA was considered a subsidiary of the NBA. And now the W is its own brand, and that's seen women's basketball grow immensely. And I think for us, it's got to be a similar approach. And it's something we've spoken to as 𝗙𝗹𝗶 to say, we don't want women's basketball to simply be considered a subsidiary of men's basketball. We're not just, the extended version of men's basketball. Women's basketball has its own place, and women's basketball has its own brand. It has its own features that we can really use to grow the game.
Definitely. In terms of your playing experience, I would love to take you back to the United States from a player's perspective and some of the systems that they have to lead a lady, for example, from junior level playing to the women's NBA. What is the big difference in the country? Of course, we know the challenges in terms of funding, in terms of just having the right structures, having competitions. What is the big difference when you look at a lady who now plays junior basketball in the United States and a lady who's, for example, in South Africa or let's say Johannesburg specifically?
Definitely holistic approach to being an athlete. You're not just a basketball player, but you're an athlete. And it's the approach to preparation, it's the approach to recovery, it's the resources that are given around those things. So not just resources at, I see this kid twice a week, they play basketball with me, and then they go. But it's really like, how is this person growing as as an individual, but also how is their body working, nutrition, recovery, all those sorts of things. So that was definitely glaring. And even back then, I think it's grown even more now, but even back then for me, it was that. I was surprised at how much of the body work, and the complete athlete work was going into me as a player.
Hopefully South Africa can get to that level, because I think that's important, because you're not just a basketball player, as you've mentioned as well. The last question comes through from 𝗀𝗻𝗀𝗀𝗻𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 female administrators who want to venture into the world of basketball?
I think the best advice I can give is to keep growing. I think there is always something to learn. Find those opportunities to learn. Reach out to people and learn from them. But I think that in anything, whether it's as a coach, as a player, or even as an administrator, don't get stagnant. Continually stretch yourself and seek opportunities for learning.
All right. Nompumelelo, thank you so much for your time. And of course, thank you for the amazing work that you guys are continuously doing on and off the court to inspire young women across South Africa to just get involved with the sport of basketball and to achieve something that's quite special, because these conversations are so important, but not just the conversations, the work that you guys do.
You're locked onto the Sports Mvt Insider, a podcast for unrelenting coverage of women in sport. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I absolutely loved diving deeper into the journeys of our athletes, coaches, and administrators to get to know them a little bit better than we do. Coming up next week, we bring you another athlete, coach, or administrator, and she shares her incredible and inspiring journey with us. Keep it locked onto Sport Mvt, where we celebrate women in sport.